A week and a half after the launch of Lightfall, the Root of Nightmares raid has finally been released, and in its 48-hour contest mode, teams had the challenge of racing for World's First. My team and I went in on reset and managed to finish it in just under 12 hours. I know teams beat it in under 3, but I'm still proud of my team and now we're taking others through it. I've not really done a raid review before, but I'll be basing it on how I felt running through the raid for the first time, so let's get into it. We start off the raid by landing on the Witness's pyramid ship after it's attacked by the Traveller during the scene of Lightfall. Compared to the likes of Ralk's pristine ship, this ship was left tangled with roots and trees left by the Traveller's terraforming beam. I have to say that this raid, in terms of environment and aesthetic, is a top one for me. Jumping through bulbs and climbing the roots to get to other encounters is beautiful. The mix of darkness architecture and light is something incredible to look at. The more time you spend taking in the environment, the more you'll notice how they're fighting each other. The heights you climb, and when you look around, you can see where you started and where you're being led to. I honestly think Bungie, as usual, knocked it out of the park with the art and environment. Throughout the travels, you're led to the first encounter, Cataclysm. In this encounter, you're against the clock, constantly connecting nodes and killing tormentors to extend and stall Nezarec from wiping your team. First encounters in raids can be mixed. We've had great opening encounters such as Security in Deepstone and Kali in Last Wish, but we've also had terrible ones like Crown and Vow. This one, I feel, is a good opening encounter. It's not dragged out, and for all the roles each member is doing, we're always on our toes. The mechanics for this encounter were straightforward to figure out. Connect the nodes to the corresponding flowers to pause the timer while others kill scions to spawn tormentors in to extend the time. The enemy density in this encounter is great, and you need to have people dedicated to clean up ads because you can easily get overwhelmed, especially nearing the end. The encounter's pacing feels spot on, as everyone is running around doing the roles, and the enemy density is great and provides people to stay on top to prevent being overwhelmed. So overall, I give this encounter an 8 out of 10. This encounter surprised me. If Cataclysm had everyone on their toes, we now had everyone launching themselves to the opposite sides of the room. The mechanics were the same as the first encounter, but now we had 2 teams of 3 on each side of the room. Each encounter had to connect their dark or light nodes to the opposite sides to successfully complete their tether, while we had everyone else clearing ads. The only thing different is that immune enemies spawn, and the people with the buffs are the only ones that can do damage to them. I had fun with this encounter. Although I do prefer the latter, I can still appreciate what this encounter does. The only way to cross to the opposite side or get to the upper floors is to launch yourself using these cannons, and while the physics are buggy, I still enjoy myself every time. While this encounter is fun, it doesn't differ too much from the previous encounter, and the immune enemies are simple enough to ignore when you could suspend them and move on to other enemies. Overall, I give this encounter a 6 out of 10. After teams were constantly wiped out by the area before, which I would consider an encounter on its own, and which I actually really enjoyed, which puts me in the major minority, we end up in the first boss fight, taking place where we first see the Witness at the end of the Witch Queen campaign. Teams are tasked to move planets and to kill Zoark, expliciter of planets. I really like this encounter. I don't really remember any mechanics being like this because it feels so unique. We split our team into 3 teams of 2. 2 people on the left where the light planets are, 2 people in the middle clearing ads, and 2 people on the right where the dark planets are. In this encounter, Centurions need to be killed in order for Inquisitors to spawn. Each player on light and dark side kill their Inquisitors to gain planetary insight, where they can see all the wrong planets and call them out to swap with the other side. After all 4 planets have swapped, we do the same again, but now to see what the middle planets are, and to put the corresponding light or dark planet on the plates in the middle, and then we start damage. I honestly really like this boss fight, and would rank it over some of my favourites within the franchise. And the lore behind this encounter is really cool. The boss was strong, health wise and damage. It proved difficult to take him down consistently because his damage phases are so short. I'm sure after contest mode, this will be another caretaker and will easily be taken down. but the mechanics and the unique feeling of this encounter is up there as one of my favourites. Overall, I give this boss fight a 10 out of 10. Nezarec was teased all over the Witch Queen seasonal story, as once thought by the community just to be some one and done deal, was then revealed during the Lightfall campaign to be the raid boss. We hear Nezarec talking and taunting us throughout each encounter until we finally meet him face to face. Coming from the previous boss fight, I wasn't sure what to expect from encounter mechanics or his design. I love Rolg. His design, his encounters and his personality won the hearts and became a favourite in the community. To me, he's the best boss fight in the franchise. We finally got to the final encounter. We finally got to see him. Nezarec, final god of pain. This boss fight was either a pushover for some or a roadblock for others. While it didn't take as long as the previous boss, the encounters did prove difficult to us. The mechanics are really easy in this fight, similar to the first two encounters. Our strategy was one runner on each side connecting nodes, one person on each side killing ads, and the other two kiting the boss around the middle of the arena, shooting his crit spots, eventually leading up to damage phase once all nodes are connected. Although there is mechanics to avoid being wiped with the boss using the nodes, we just brute force our way through it. As much as the mechanics are simple and easy, if people aren't shooting his crit spots, he does tend to wipe faster, which can be stressful. He also hits like a truck. His tracking void attacks and his slams can easily ruin a run, and that's where people struggle. I honestly really like this encounter. Although the mechanics may be too easy and simple, Nezarec chasing people down and having people kite the boss takes me back to when I played WoW. I do wish Bungie tunes his health so he's not as easy to take down and people can actually enjoy his encounter because it's unique and an overall blast. Overall, I give his encounter an 8.5 out of 10. The community is mixed on the armor. Compared to the other raid armor pieces in Destiny 2, these feel the most alien. I might be in the minority here, where I really dig the new sets. I love how unique they are, and the effects really make them stand out. I'm honestly sold. The Hunter Cloak, Warlock chestpiece and Titan helmet are some of my favourites, and I look forward to getting them. They just look so aquatic, alien, and I'm here for it. Overall, 8 out of 10. Along with the unique armor, we got some unique looking weapons, and like the armor set, I really like the way these look. I got the grenade launcher and shotgun in my 2 runs, and they're beautiful with similar effects to the armor. Rolling with reconstruction, rewind rounds, and the new trait called Paracausal Affinity, which seems okay, makes them unique, and each weapon has great roles to synergize. Although I do wish we got some better archetypes of weapons, or 1 or 2 more new traits on the weapons, they do seem to be some of the best in class. I really want to get the auto rifle with rewind rounds and target lock, and it's a 720 RPM, so it's already one of my favourites. Overall, the weapons in this raid are unique and provide some nice perk combos. 7.5 out of 10. Overall, the raid gets an 8 out of 10. I've only done it in contest mode, and what it plays like, I know I'll look forward to running this raid again week by week. Nezarec has the potential to be one of the best boss fights in the game, and an increase to his health could easily make that happen. The encounters are strong and provide fluid gameplay throughout the whole raid, with the third encounter being my favourite. Although I feel like the raid's too easy, it means nothing because the raid is so fun. Thank you for watching. I'm going to start streaming on YouTube, and I'll be more than happy to help anyone through the raid or any endgame content for that fact. I appreciate your time. See you in the battleground.